UPWP. It's the transportation related work program for both counties and the transit authorities. We're doing a 1-year cycle this year, so it offsets with the UPWP and the TIP development cycles. Next year, we will be back to the 2-year. Lackawanna and Luzerne have not received any comments during the 30-day period. And I ask at this time if anyone has comments on the W. No comments? Steve, you don't have comments? He said he had, yeah, I thought we were going to hear at least an hour. All right, so that I guess concludes the comment period for the UPWP. We'll kick it over to the regular meeting, and I think Eric is going to do attendance.
Yeah, so I'll kick it off with attendance. I'll call out who I've seen join, but if I miss you, please speak up when I'm done so I could get you down. For the coordinating committee, I saw Rich Roman, Dean, Brenda, Romhilda, so Tom Riley. Did I miss anyone else from PU?
And Mark Barry.
Sure. Go to the technical committee. Dean again, Sue, Brenda, John, Mary Liz, Tom Riley, Matt Jones, Ralph Sharp. And if I might have did a double there, but if I said your name for the coordinating committee, if you're already on there, I have you down. Did I miss anyone else?
Gerard Babinski.
Yeah, that's Alan Baranski, Nippon Alliance.
Okay. For the tech committee members, I have Denise Cochran, Steve Petoniak, Aline Cipriani. Non-members, MPO, myself, Jessica Edwards, Joe Cochran, John Petrini, Kate McMahon, Marie Bishop, Robert Kenny, Steve Fisher, Paul Dene, and Casey Bodiger and Duran Jordan. Anyone else?
Yeah, hi, this is Annie Betkowitz with Michael Baker. I'm attending as well to represent the group working on the local coordinated plan. So yes, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Annie.
Stephanie Molesky.
And Owen Worsbit.
Thanks, Owen.
Yeah, hi. It's Gene Peroshniak from Federal Highway. I've been having some connection issues, so I'm not sure if you called my name or not.
Thanks, Gene.
Danielle Patrick is also on the line.
Baker. Oh, hi. Thanks, Casey. Yeah.
All right, got you.
Got everybody? Let's call. All right, Dina, over to you.
Okay, so I got to read the Mr. Petoniak statement here. As per the requirements of the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act and federal public notices requirements, this meeting was advertised in the Scranton Times, the Wilkes-Barre Citizens Voice, the Hazleton Standard Speaker. The meeting and the agenda were posted on the LLTS MPO website more than 24 hours prior to the meeting to meet the requirements of the Sunshine Act. I asked for a little patience today for everyone. We've lost Chris Chapman, who took a position someplace else. So this is the first meeting me, Jonathan, and Liz have tried to wade through some things. And even then, we're all nervous because I know we got Steve Petoniak in the office, who was a real pro at this. So we'll just go forward as best we can, and I'll have to remember when I take a vote that I will kick it over to the coordinating committee meeting. This will take us back to, I believe, to item number 2, public comment. Are there any discussion items that we want to talk about that not listed on the agenda? Okay, hearing none. We'll move down to action items for the approval of the October 25th, 2023 combined technical and coordinating committee meeting. If you want, I'll give you 30 seconds to look those over before I ask for an action to take a vote. Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the October 25th, 2023 combined technical and coordinating committee meeting minutes for the technical committee?
I'll make a motion.
When you make a motion, could you say your name so we have that right for the record? I think that helps in a virtual world. Mary Liz, you made that motion. Did I hear a second?
So
Sue.
I'll second it though.
Okay. With that said, all in favor of the motion?
Hi.
All opposed? Motion carries. And then Mr. Fumi, I believe I kick it over to you now.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Dean. So we need a motion from the coordinating committee to approve the minutes from the October 25th, 2023 combined technical and coordinating committee meeting. Do we have a motion?
Bob, this is Rich Roman. I'll make a motion.
Thanks, Rich. Motion by Rich. Do I have a second?
Dean Roberts, I'll second.
Dean, thank you.
Yeah.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There you go, Dean.
Thank you, sir. That takes us down to item B, 2023 TIP actions, or amendments, votes require amendments. And I believe, Mr. Fisher, I'll hand it over to you, sir.
Thanks, Dean. Actions that are part of this information packet are all administrative actions with minor fiscal adjustments. So there are no amendments to vote on as part of this item. I'll be happy to take any questions now or can contact me after the meeting.
Okay. Since they're all administratively, no vote is needed. Do we have any transit amendments or actions? Okay, wonderful. That takes us down to action item C, approval of the public participation plan, the limited English proficiency plan, and the Title VI plans. I believe, Casey, you are on the line to, you want to present these plans to us?
Yes, thank you, Dean. Am I able to share my screen? I don't want to take control of.
Yeah, just request control and I'll give it to you.
Okay. So hopefully everybody can see my screen.
I see it, Casey.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Once again, I'm Casey Bodiger. I'm with Michael Baker. The consulting team's been working with the MPO on the update of the public participation plan, Title VI, and limited English proficiency plans. We had discussed these at a previous meeting, but we had received some other comments that we were working through. So we're here to bring these before you guys again for adoption consideration. We just wanted to give you guys a brief rundown on each of the three plans, the updates that have been made. So right off the bat, the public participation plan, or the PPP. This outlines a playbook for different opportunities, timely and meaningful opportunities for public involvement. Included with that is Title VI, which discusses the process and the efforts that the MPO is going to take to remain in compliance with Title VI and related statutes. And limited English proficiency, which is outlines a strategy to ensure access to the planning and programming processes within the MPO by those that may be limited English proficient or do not speak English. So from the public participation plan side, federal legislation requires that the plan go out for a 45-day public review and comment period. The MPO held that comment period back in September. It kicked off September 12th, and it closed at the end of October on October 26th. It was announced via a press release and was available on the MPO's website. And a comment form was available via SurveyMonkey for individuals to take a look at each of the copies of the plans and provide their feedback. Generally, we did not receive any comments from the public on any of the three plans that were put out. We did receive some clarification items from FHWA that we did work through when in partnership with Jean, who's the MPO's liaison, as well as Con Mitchell, the civil rights specialist with the Pennsylvania division. So we were able to work through some different items with them. To give a brief overview of the different updates that were made to the three plans, for the public participation plan, we did make it more concise, more readable. It was reformatted to be this way. Hyperlink texts, it takes you to different resources that the MPO has available and makes it easy to navigate in a digital setting. There's a demographic and socioeconomic component to all three of these, and we worked with the MPO staff and their GIS staff at each of the counties to get these information, the maps and the information updated to reflect the current state of the region and where these populations are centered. And the public engagement strategies were also refined to reflect what the MPO is currently doing, the latest and greatest. Obviously, as we all know, the pandemic really changed the game when it comes to public and stakeholder engagement for these types of things. So we wanted to reflect how those processes have evolved over time. For Title VI, a lot of the major updates were centered around language interpretation. There were some contractual changes that have led to, access to interpretation service changes. As I mentioned before, we also had a meeting with the folks at FHWA to clarify Title VI procedures and make sure that they were clearly documented and correctly documented in the document. We included new action strategies for the MPO to undertake to increase overall transparency and accessibility of their programs when it comes to Title VI. And all outreach tools and strategies were updated to align closely with the updates that were made for the public participation plan. Similarly for LEP, language assistance measures were updated, as well as different strategies that the MPO can leverage. Particularly, this involved the update to some language taglines. We included those as an appendix to the plan, and we also incorporated language taglines into public notice documents for public viewing, making it easier for folks to access the MPO services and assistance and interpretation services as needed. Similar to the PPP, there was also some demographic and socioeconomic components to this. So we updated those to get the most up-to-date data in there, as well as updated maps. We also reflected the changes to language interpretation contracts and also included short and long-term recommendations to improve overall access to language services in the region. That was just some of the highlights, the things that were updated as part of this plan update. I'd be happy to answer any questions on any of the three plans, but we are putting this before you today for consideration for adoption.
Thanks, Casey. Any questions for Casey? Hey, Gene Prosniak, do you know of, my question to you is, do you know of any, at the federal level, are there periodic update requirements for these plans? Or is it just a good idea to try to do these when you update your long-range plan?
Yeah, Dean, I think it's the latter. It's a good idea to kind of periodically revisit these plans to make sure that they're still, like, for example, the PPP, that is still capturing the outreach methods and techniques that the MPO is employing to reach stakeholders, and the same thing with Title VI and LEP. So it's a good idea to revisit them periodically on a regular basis, but there is no specific year requirement for how often they have to be updated.
Thanks, Gene. All right, hearing no other questions, do I have a motion by the technical committee to approve the PPP, LEP, and Title VI plans for the LLTS MPO?
Alan Boransky, I'll make that motion.
Thanks, Al. Do I hear a second?
Second, Matt Jones.
Second, Mac Jones. Thank you. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Off to you, Mr. Frumey.
Yeah, I need a motion by the coordinating committee to approve the public participation plan, the limited English proficiency plan, and the Title VI plan. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, Bob, Rich Roman.
Thanks, Rich. Motion by Rich, a second.
Second, Mark Barry.
Thanks, Mark. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks, Dean.
Thanks, Bob. Brings us down to action item D, approval of the 2024-2025 UPWP. I think Mary Liz explained this a little bit at the beginning of the meeting here. Basically, it's just a set of tasks that the MPO will perform within the next year. This is a one-year cycle, as she said, to get us off cycle with TIP adoption and UPWP adoption. I didn't know if there's any specific questions. If there are, you can ask any of us, or you can come back later and ask any of us. Once again, it's for both counties. Do I have any Mary Liz or Jonathan, do you have anything to add on the UPWP development?
We're good.
Yeah, we don't have anything to add.
Okay. With that, do I hear a motion from the technical committee members to approve the 2024-25 UPWP?
Gerard Babinski, I'll make a motion.
Thank you, sir. Do I hear a second?
Alan Boransky, I'll make that.
Alan, I caught Alan's name. I'll take Alan. With that, all in favor of approving the UPWP?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Bob, I turn it over to you and coordinating committee.
Need a motion from the coordinating committee to approve the 2024-2025 UPWP. Do you have a motion?
Tim McGrath.
Motion by Tim. Second.
I'll second, Bob, Rich Roman.
Second by Rich. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Dean.
Okay, thanks, Bob. This brings us down to action item E, approval of the statewide performance measures, or PM1, the safety target. The safety targets are a performance metric that we approve every year. The PM2 and PM3, the CMAC and reliability, those are 2 year PMs we approve. But Jonathan, my friend, I turn it over to you, buddy.
Thanks, Dean. Like Dean said, these are performance measures that we approve yearly for the Highway Safety Improvement Program. the states establish those targets. They're on page 3 for number of fatalities and number of serious injuries reduction that we aim to achieve. This year it's a 2% annual fatality reduction and maintaining the level of suspected serious injuries. After the state establishes their targets, the MPO has 180 days to either establish their own targets or adopt the state's. The MPO staff is going to recommend that we adopt the state targets. So we're going to ask a vote from the technical and the coordinating committee to adopt the statewide safety targets. So I'll kick it back over to Dean for that.
Yeah, Jonathan, I'll just add that every MPO, I believe, except Philadelphia, is just supporting the statewide targets. It is a very labor-intensive endeavor. I think this is about the 6th or 7th year we've gone in front of this committee to approve these targets. They're rolling average. This one, unlike the other ones, is kind of easy for a small brain like me to understand. So with that, do I hear a motion from the technical committee to approve the statewide performance measures PM1 for the LLTS MPO?
Dean Susan Hazelton, I'll make the motion.
Thanks, Sue. Do I hear a second?
Alan Boransky, I'll make that.
Thanks, Al. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. All opposed? Motion carries. I will kick it over to you, Bob.
Need a motion by the coordinating committee to approve the statewide performance measures PM1. Do we have a motion from the coordinating committee?
Rich Roman, I'll make a motion.
Thanks, Rich. Motion by Rich. Roman, second.
Tim McGrath, second.
Thanks, Tim. Second by Tim McGrath. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Dean.
Thank you, sir. Takes us down to action item F, tip reaffirmation from Mr. Fisher. This will only be for the Elm Street Bridge for the coordinating committee. Go ahead, Mr. Fisher.
Hey, thanks, Dean. Yeah, as Dean mentioned, this is the construction estimate increase for the Elm Street Bridge in the city of Scranton. This is an increase of approximately $3.5 million. The project has since been obligated. We're bringing the program amount up to the PS&E estimate, and this will hopefully be let March timeframe of this year. So that's what this adjustment is, and we do need a reaffirmation from the coordinating committee.
Okay, do we have a motion for the tip reaffirmation for the Elm Street Bridge over Lackawanna River from the coordinating committee?
Bob, I make that motion. This is Dean.
Motion by Dean. A second?
I'll second, Bob. Rich Roman.
Second by Rich. Thank you, gentlemen. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Dean.
Thank you, sir. Takes us down to action item G, the TASA or Transportation Alternatives Set Aside, large MPO awards reaffirmation. Go ahead, Jonathan.
16, 16th, the TAC committee met to score and make a recommendation for the large MPO TASA grant applications. After that, we had to get the scores to the state by December 1st. So we had to do an e-ballot with the technical and the coordinating committee to get those approved. And we're just going to ask for reaffirmations from each committee to confirm those. So I'll kick it back over to Dean to do that, to start with the technical committee.
Yeah, I will. Now, Jonathan, these are the selection for the large MPOs, correct? Are these going to the statewide committee also?
All of them are going to go to the statewide, but these are the selections for the MPO.
Okay. With that, do I hear a recommendation from the technical to reaffirm the technical committee, to reaffirm the TASA large MPO awards projects.
So moved, Matt Jones.
Thank you, Matt. Do I hear a second? Second.
Barbadha, second.
Okay. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Frumi, over to you, sir.
Yes, do we have a motion from the coordinating committee to reaffirm the TASA large MPO awards?
Rich Roman, I'll make a motion.
Rich, thanks. Motion by Rich, second. I'll second. Anybody on the question? All in favor? Did someone, I'm sorry, did we cut somebody off?
That was me, Bob. I'm sorry.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There you go, Dean.
Thank you, sir. I think that takes us down to discussion items with number 4, with discussion item 4A, fall project commencement. Turn this over to Jonathan and Eric.
Thanks, Dean. I'll start off. We only have one project to report on for Lackawanna County, and that's project 117977. It's a resurfacing project on State Route 11, the Scranton Expressway from 7th Avenue, Providence Road. That exit to the interchange of Route 6 and Route 11 in Clark Summit. Still located in the city of Scranton. The wet date is February 1st of this year. And that's it for Lackawanna County.
Thanks, Eric. I've got 5 or 6 to go over in Luzerne. The first one is MPMS 117106. That's an SR 115 retaining wall repair in Plains Township. The AEDT for the road is 22,078. And it's going to be a retaining wall repair between East Mountain Boulevard and a bridge overletting Blue Mountain Northern Railroad. That's going to go for let February 1st. And then the next project I have is MPMS 67333. That's SR 3040 over a tributary to Nescapipe Creek. In Sugarloaf Township, the ADT for the road is 1,101. That's going to be a bridge replacement on St. John's Road. And the let date's going to be February 15th. Then I have MPMS 9175. That is SR 1050 over Toby Creek in Kingston Township. The ADT for the road is 38. And that's going to be bridge preservation. And that's going to go for let February 15th. And then MPMS 79534 is SR 3019 over Hazel Creek in Hazel Township. The ADT for the road is 2,724. That's going to be bridge rehabilitation on Stockton Mountain Road. And that's going to go for let February 29th. Then I have MPMS 115731. That's SR 315 over Reading Blue Mountain and Northern Rail Bridge preservation in Lackland Borough. The ADT for the road is 6,812. And that's going to go for let March 14th. That's everything. Did anyone have any questions? I'll kick it back over to Dean now.
Hey, thanks, Jonathan. That takes us down to discussion item B, the annual obligations. I'll turn that over to Eric. I'll just say that our annual obligations was a STIP finding, a requirement we have from our federal partners. It's still work in progress, but I will turn it over to you, Eric. Whatever you want to add on.
Thanks, Dean. I'll just cover it quickly. So we're required to provide the annual obligation report every federal fiscal year. So during 2023, the LLTS MPO programmed a total of $156,513,823 for 113 phases of 106 projects, and also deprogrammed a total of $6,816,459 for 41 phases of 40 projects. If anyone wants to see the full report listing, it was on the agenda that John sent out, and it's on the MPO website.
Thanks, Eric. Any questions for Eric or on the annual obligation? Thanks. That turns it over to C, Spring Planning Partners Meeting. I really don't have anything for the spring yet, maybe in a month or so. I will say that we're starting our tip review meetings with all our MPOs and RPOs. That'll be happening this month, along with our federal partners. We also have a new Deputy Secretary of Planning, Kristen Mulcairn, who many of you know because she was on the coordinating committee meeting here. I would expect that our fall planning partners meeting will now be back to the 2.5 day event that we had previously. I would almost venture to say that it'll be back in State College again this coming fall or October. I don't have anything other to add to that. I think we have a planning partner call coming up in the foreseeable future. And maybe some more info will come out of that. You know, it's always, our world's always changing. So that's all I have to say. Any questions on the Spring Planning Partners meeting? Yeah, hearing none, I'll turn it over to item D, discussion item, our federal certification review. I'll turn that for you, Mr. Porosniak, to give us any update that you may have.
Yeah, thanks, Dean. I've been working with Tim Lidiak from FTA. As you may be aware, that FTA is the lead on this particular certification review for the LLTS region. And we've set up a meeting to get together with the MPO to discuss potential dates for the site visit coming up this summer. We're trying to coordinate that between the MPO schedules and development and adoption of the TIP, and to try to find like a date that kind of works best for everybody and also gives us enough time to go through the process and get the report issued in time before the certification deadline this fall.
Thanks, Gene. So you'll have to be working with the MPO to set up a place for the on-site visit, correct?
Correct. Well, we'll discuss that as well at the meeting. Absolutely.
Okay. Any questions for Gene? Thank you. Takes us down to 4E, funding and grant opportunities. Mr. Shaw?
Oh, thanks, Dean. The first one I have is the Rebuilding American Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity, or the RAISE program. The purpose of that program is to invest in surface transportation that have a significant local or regional impact, support projects that will improve safety, equity, and sustainability. It's a competitive grant program for year 2024. They have 1.5 billion, and the deadline for those applications closes February 28th. The next one I have is the Advanced Transportation Technology and Innovation Program, or ATTAIN. That is to support projects that deploy advanced transportation technologies to improve emergency evacuation and responses from authorities, as well as on-demand transportation services such as dynamic ride sharing. For 2024, they have $60 million, and the deadline to apply is February 2nd. And the last program I have is the Bridge Investment Program. This one is going to be for years 23 through 26 for a total of $9.62 billion. This is for bridge projects or planning activities with costs up to $100 million. For the 23 and 24 years, the deadline to apply for planning grants is February 19th, 2024, with the deadline for bridge projects being March 19th, 2024. For fiscal year 25 and 26, the deadline for planning applications is October 1st, 2025, and the deadline for bridge projects is November 1st, 2025. That's everything I had, so I'll turn it back over to Dean.
Thank you, Jonathan. Takes us down to 4F. Safe Streets and Roads for All, or S4 or 4A awards. Mary Liz, I turn it to you, my friend.
Yes, I just want to report that Lackawanna County, we did receive the 250,000 grant last year. We are working on the RFP as we speak. We hope to have that out by the end of January.
Great. Jonathan, you have anything to add, sir?
Luzerne County also received an award of $250,000. Since then, we've been able to attend some informational webinars hosted by FHWA, and we're just waiting on a point of contact. But once that's done, we're going to get started on the RFP.
Okay, great. Any questions for Mary Liz or Jonathan? Hearing none, I'll go down to discussion item 4G, Long Range Transportation Plan update. Mr. Jones?
Yes. We are starting the process of scoping a update to the long-range transportation plan. This is something that's required every 5 years. The last iteration we published was in the winter, spring of 2021. And so we are looking to publish a new update to the document by winter or spring of 2026. And so we have begun to consider a budget that would largely be used to hire a consultant. And so we're in talks with Mary Liz about coming up with a figure. Jonathan and I are going to meet this Thursday to talk about some of our thoughts about trying to scope the project, and then we'll be talking with Lackawanna to get their input. It'll involve sending out an RFP eventually and hiring a consultant to help us produce the document. The last time this was done, it was dovetailed and roped together with a comprehensive plan update. Those are only required every 10 years. And so this time around, it will be a standalone project and will not be looped in with a comp plan. So it's a 25-year plan. And so we will be putting a lot of resources towards it, we think, and it should be a good project for us to work on together as the two counties. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Back to you, Dean.
Takes us down to agenda item 5, progress report, PennDOT Connects. Mr. Fisher?
Okay, thanks, Dean. For PennDOT Connects, we are working through the 2025 tip update. We will be analyzing the new program to see what projects we will hold PennDOT Connects meetings and outreach for. In addition, on April 26th at 9 o'clock, District 4 will be hosting a municipal outreach session with the PennDOT Connects consultants. The previous one that we held, they went over things like the notice of funding opportunities and technical assistance that they were available to provide to municipalities. So I'm imagining it'll be something similar in nature, but it's also a kickoff for us to have a dialogue with the municipalities of what resources are available for them. So that's all I have, Dean. Any questions? And there will be something come. Yeah, Dean.
I was just going to say, go ahead, Mr. Fisher. I cede the floor to you, buddy.
Yeah, thanks. We will be sending out a flyer to the whole committee and everybody that's part of it. So I'll ask Jonathan and his crew to distribute it accordingly. That's it, Dean. Back to you.
Thanks, Steve. Any questions for Steve? None. I'll move down to item 5B, joint county plans for 2023. Mary Liz, Jonathan?
Yeah, these are the last 2 of the 5 plans that we're working on. We just adopted the first 3. These are the last 2, congestion management process and coordinated public transit and human services. Just a note on the public transit plan, we had about 10 or 11 stakeholder meetings in December with various transit agencies and agencies that provide transportation. We did that with Michael Baker. Very interesting. Very eye-opening in some of the instances on the need for that. And if John got it on the congestion management.
Yeah, for congestion management, we're going to be ramping up our public input process. We've put together an interactive map and a survey for people to take, and we're working on getting some flyers and social media materials produced with Michael Baker. But after that, we're going to start sending out email blasts and start to collect some public input.
I think April is the target date, right, to have these done?
To have them published.
Yeah.
Well,
First
yeah,
one
well, we're
published,
trying to wrap them
yeah.
up. Yeah. Yeah, so they would be coming to this body at our next meeting on April 9th for your adoption consideration.
The congestion management plan might be coming in July.
Yeah. Depends on the timing. John, did we already share the survey with this committee by email?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. It's coming soon.
That was everything. Thanks, Dean.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan. Any other questions for Mary Liz or Jonathan on the CMP or the Coordinated Human Services plans?
This is Matt again. Let me just encourage the group. We have a really neat survey that Michael Baker helped us prepare. That's map-based, like Jonathan and Mary Liz said. When this is shared with you, we'd encourage you all to take a look at that and give us your ideas of where you think there are congested corridors. Sometimes it's 3 cars parked behind a red light, and people think that's the worst traffic they've ever seen. But sometimes it really is a significantly congested corridor. And we want to revisit the 15 or 16 stretches that were identified several years ago and revisit them and see if some of them have been alleviated or if they remain a problem, and take ideas for new corridors. And so that's going to be a really neat input collection process, and we would encourage you all to take a look at that and provide us your input and expertise when that time comes, and it should be coming soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Here are no other questions. I'll move us down to progress report C, transportation improvement plan update. I think I mentioned a little, we're all meeting this month of January to discuss where we are in TIP development process with central office. But Steve, I'll hand it over to you, sir.
Yeah, thanks. So in regards to the 2025 program, as Dean mentioned, we finished attaching for the most part for the TIP to be in its draft form. We will begin the review process with central office and FHWA and our counterparts to sort of look at what the 2025 program entails and where we're going, any new projects that we'll be adding and any projects that will be coming off. I'll say that in previous federal fiscal years, we did very well with August redistribution. So we're cautiously optimistic going into the 2025 TIP that we will receive August redistribution again in 24 and hopefully free up some funding to add new projects on the 25 program. Otherwise, there's, carryover from working through project phases, and we continue to, work at the program. So that's about all I have.
Thanks, Steve. Any questions for Steve? Any questions at all about the TIP? I will say, Steve, I've heard mention that August redistribution. They're expecting a large sum of money again statewide. So I guess just stay nimble, I guess. Takes us down to progress reports, item 5D, the Scranton to New York City Rail Corridor Identification and Development Program. And I'll be handing that to you, Mary Liz.
Thank you. As everyone is aware, the passenger rail project has been accepted into the corridor ID program. I like to call it the home run, I guess, after 30 some years of planning this. PennDOT, Jersey Transit, and the Rail Authority are meeting to discuss the next steps. They've already done a lot of this work already, so we're in a little bit better shape than other recipients. I guess they're billing it or saying it that this is the least expensive and the quickest line that they can get up and running in the entire country with this funding. We have invited Larry Mosky to attend the April meeting, and hopefully at that time we will have a lot more information. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Liz. Any questions for Mary Liz? Hearing none, I'll turn it down to 5E, Eastern PA Freight Alliance Freight Study. Back to Mary Liz and Jonathan.
Still working on this, a little bit slower than we anticipated, but we did complete the stakeholder outreach sessions within the 5 MPOs. We had in-person meetings in Stroudsburg, Pottsville, Allentown. We had one here at the airport and in Lebanon, and then the Berks County did theirs virtually. Very interesting. We had a nice group here, development, the chambers, some municipalities, the 2 counties. Was a very well-rounded discussion. Also, another surprise, I thought this was very encouraging. The results of the surveys that they put out online and distributed, over 4,000 responses were received back. So hopefully this is going to give us a nice picture on the state of freight. Hey, John, did you have anything to add?
No, I think you covered it. Thanks, Mary Liz.
Okay, Dean, we're good.
Hey, thanks, Mary Liz. That takes us down to 5F, the 2023 LLTS MPO hybrid meeting schedule. I don't know, Jonathan, do you have them on the screen, or I could read them off? Yeah, they're on the screen. Does anybody have any problems with any of those dates? And I would just say we will. Do you want these approved, Jonathan, or we just as an information they'll be held on these dates?
No, I think we had them, we ran them by everyone at the October meeting. So these are just the standing dates.
Okay. Takes us down to 6. Is there any other business?
You guys want your parking passes validated? The next door office can help you with that. Thank you.
And I believe right after we can just adjourn this meeting, but I believe for those who are going to attend the TIP development meeting, we're just to stay on the line. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. I'll say meeting's adjourned.